What I'm gonna say might piss some y'all off, but it's gonna be a major wake-up call. The reason why you haven't been able to manifest some of your major goals to get that dream life that you always wanted is not because of your ADHD or because you have the wrong medication or a lack of motivation, focus, or procrastination. There's a core cause you're overlooking. In today's video, I'm going to talk about the top 5 major spiritual truths that you're probably overlooking or don't know, and how to use them to manifest anything quickly. Nothing's impossible, and nothing should have to take too long. The first one, this is something that scientists have already said is true about people with ADHD, and that usually we are highly sensitive people. Because of that, many of us with ADHD tend to be empaths. I've already talked about this before. We have the ability to feel other people's emotions in a very strong way, including our own. The fact that we can feel our own emotions very strongly is the main premise around how we can improve our manifestation skills significantly. What do I mean by this? Well, anytime I manifest anything, and anytime you see any information on manifestation, they always talk about the need to attach an emotion to the manifestation, a heightened sense of happiness, joy, accomplishment, whatever it may be that's attached to that goal that you have. For instance, anytime I want to manifest something minor or major, I always get in this mode of excitement. And because of my ADHD, I'm able to be hyper excited because we are able to tap into a heightened sense of feeling our emotions. It's very easy to do. All you have to do is think of a time or think of that energy of excitement and just really relish in that. You're going to tap into that energy of emotional dysregulation. When you have emotional dysregulation, most people focus on the negative aspects. When you're extremely sad, depressed, angry, whatever. But most people overlook the positive aspects of emotional dysregulation, and that's the joy, the happiness. When you're emotionally dysregulated, when you're extremely happy, or when you're laughing too hard at a joke, or when you're feeling extra excited, it triggers that hyperactivity, it triggers that spontaneity and all of those things. Tap into that when you're manifesting. When you're manifesting, you can use that to your advantage. Really get excited about your manifestation. Really get happy about your manifestation. And it speeds it up significantly. I promise you that. I have a personal example of this. About 3 or so years ago, I really wanted to move out of my parents' house halfway across the country to Houston, Texas. And at first, I was coming from the opposite side of the emotional dysregulation. I was so unhappy, so depressed about the fact that I was living with my parents. I hated it so much. I wanted to move so bad. And that was slowing down, getting me to that point. It wasn't until I started living in that energy of joy, knowing that I was going to move without any doubt, being in that energy of joy. And anytime I thought of the fact that I was moving, I claimed it to be true. And I got so excited. I got extremely excited, and it sped it up significantly. All it took was a minor shift from that negativity to that positivity of hypersensitivity. You can do that if you have ADHD. The second one is claircognizance or clear thinking. Most people, when they think of psychic gifts, they always think of clairvoyant, the seers who see visions. A lot of people overlook those who are the clear thinkers, the ones who get amazing information in the form of a thought. A lot of people with ADHD actually aren't just overthinking nonsense. Some of it is clear information. Some of it can actually help them improve their lives if they just know how to hone in on the thoughts that are clear thoughts and let go of the overthinking thoughts that are just mind clutter that are going to get in your way. This can definitely be improved with meditation, as I've said many times before. Also, when you're having a lot of repetitive negative thoughts come into your mind, it could be a need for shadow work to face those negative aspects of yourself, or it could be a trauma-related thing. If you need more help on exactly how to heal your trauma, I have free courses on that in the description of this video. And I have videos on that as well. I have also realized that some of that randomness, that crazy stuff that ADHD people go through is really just uncontrolled intuition. Sometimes when we act without thinking, that is literally our intuition and it takes over. That is such an amazing power or ability that people with ADHD have. Whereas some people who don't have ADHD, the neurotypical people, they might have a form of a clear thought, of intuition, and they don't act on it because they get to overthinking. And because they don't have that hyperactivity, that spontaneity that people with ADHD tend to have, it never ends up becoming true unless they learn how to listen to that voice. But with people with ADHD, sometimes we're just unable to control it. We just act on it as soon as we think it. And it happens to be something that we were meant to act on. It happens to be something that was very beneficial to us, very helpful. It's not a bad thing. Like I've always said in my videos, if you shift your perspective from negative to positive, you'll see how amazing these gifts are. Now, the way that you can use this is obviously by listening to it. Think of all the times that you had these crazy thoughts pop up in your head and didn't seem to go away, and it just felt so right, and you acted on it and it was right. Tune into that energy, and anytime you feel that way about something again, just do it. Do not procrastinate on that. I know we have the tendency to procrastinate on our clear thinking, our intuition. I have done that myself sometimes, and it is because I had a lack of confidence in myself, because people in my life were telling me this, telling me that. All of it was a bunch of negativity towards my pure genius. Once I learned to tap into my pure genius, I stopped listening to those voices, and I just did it. Think about it. What is the worst thing that can happen? The worst thing that can happen is you fail at whatever it is, but that's not even that bad. A failure is not even truly a failure. A failure is just something to learn, something to see and to get better. So acting on it as much as possible, as long as the consequences of it being bad is not too extreme, you will see how amazing and how powerful it is. You'll get into a mode of pure action on intuition, and your life will just flow easily. This speeds up manifestation, because manifestation comes with the actions from intuitive thoughts. So when you want something, the reason why you get it is because you act on your intuition to get that result. A wonderful personal example I have of that is one time back a couple years ago almost, I had a flat tire, and it was on my birthday, unfortunately, but I just changed it to the donut tire. And I said to myself, man, it sucks that I have a flat tire. I barely had any money at the time, but I said, I know I'm going to get a new tire. Everything's going to be okay, etc., right? Fast forward to a day or so later, out of nowhere, I just had a spark of just intuition that popped in my head. I said, you know what? I want to go to the store, HEB. I call it HEB. I want to go to the grocery store. That's basically what it is. And so I went to the grocery store just off a whim, no reason, no rhyme, no reason. And I get there, and turns out a woman was following me, and she parked right next to me. And she said to me, I see you have a donut on. Do you need a new tire? And I was like, yeah, I need a new tire. She was like, I'll get you a new tire. And I was so shocked. And I was like, really? Is this a scam? She was like, no, I'll buy you a new tire. Y'all, I kid you not. She literally bought me a new tire. And you know how that happened is because I knew I was going to get a new tire, and I acted on my intuition and went to the store, and it didn't even make any sense at all. But because I just went with that ADHD spontaneity, that hyperactivity, that I just want to go to the store. And I felt it was I was so convicted to go to the store, I had to go there. That's what made it happen. So that was an amazing example. And I have so many more amazing examples of that. I know you have some examples too. So tap into that energy and understand that that is a good thing sometimes. It's not always a bad thing, that spontaneity of ADHD and the crazy thoughts that pop into our mind. However, I have a little bit of a warning, and this is when it comes to other people. Sometimes, because of us and our ADHD and our spontaneity, we seem a little loony to some people outside of us. There are going to be times when people try to talk us out of our pure intuition. Intuition doesn't necessarily have a rhyme or reason to it. Sometimes it flat out doesn't make sense, and yet it still ends up working out. To people who are too logical and they're not really connected to that side, they sometimes might talk you out of it. They are doing it because they have not tapped into that inner voice, and they're afraid of following it. And because they're afraid of following it, they live a safe life that is not as fulfilling, but it's what they know, and that's just where they want to be. One amazing lesson that I learned about these types of people in our lives, and don't think of them as bad, because sometimes they do wish the best for you, sometimes they don't. But one thing I've learned, and this is very important, and you should always follow this with anything in your life, is do not listen to the people who do not have what you want. If someone has horrible relationships in your lives, don't listen to their relationship advice. Some things, yes, maybe listen to it. They might have some insights. But some stuff, if your intuition's like, no, leave it alone. They might want the best for you, but they don't even realize what they even think is the best for you is what they do. And it's not even the best for them. They're not even living to their full potential. So you really need to listen to that intuitive voice of you. Focus on how you feel. Connect to that hypersensitivity and focus on it. There's a time when I didn't listen to that. I didn't listen to my intuition, and I didn't listen to how I felt about something, and I dragged on a toxic relationship for too long. It was toxic to me. It wasn't toxic in nature, but it was toxic because I was holding on to something that would never be, and it brought me down and it made me sad. I had these expectations and I felt bad. I felt bad about how they treated me. I felt bad by the negligence. I felt bad about all these things, and I did not listen. And I also heard my intuitive voice kept saying to me, he doesn't like you. He doesn't want you. He's not this. He's not that. Hell, he even said it. But I was too caught up in overthinking and overdoing everything. I was just not using my ADHD brilliant mind to its fullest. And so I ended up being hurt from it. So you really have to listen to that intuitive voice and follow the people who have what you want. The people who had what I wanted did not accept that type of treatment. They did not receive that type of treatment from the person they love. That was never even a part of their relationship. And so it is very important to listen to your intuitive voice and to do the things that are in alignment with what you want, to follow those who are in alignment with what you want. And it'll get there. You'll get to where you want. Your manifestation will come true, I promise. So the next one is a wonderful thing, and we all know this very well, is that people with ADHD, we tend to function outside of the concept of time. Everyone knows ADHDers lose track of time. It's so easy, especially when we hyperfocus. And I'll get more into why that happens, especially when we hyperfocus later. With people with ADHD, time is a complete illusion. Sometimes things feel like it's too short, and sometimes things feel like it's too long. It's very interest-based because that's how our minds work. And that is what is very powerful that we can use when it comes to manifestation. When it comes to manifestation, one of the most important things that you have to learn about getting what you want is letting go of how long it takes. The irony is, the less we hold on to how long it takes, the quicker it'll come to us. Use that energy. Channel that energy of losing focus of time, of losing track of time, into your manifestation. Say, you know what? I'm giving it to that higher power. I'm letting it happen when it happens. And I know that it'll come to me when the time is perfect. A wonderful example of this just happened to me recently, which is amazing. My love life for a long time was horrendous, horrible. I was taking a lot of L's, and I really just did not know love very well at all. I didn't trust my judgment, and for good reason. But I started to recover from all my relationship trauma and all the other traumas of my life and all the poor relationship or attachment styles that I had. And after I did that, I began to realize what it is that I actually wanted from a man. I knew what I wanted from a man, and I told my higher power, this is what I want from a man. After all these failures, after all these terrible experiences, this is exactly what I want. I'm giving this up to you to bring this person to me in the most perfect time for me. And I'm letting it go. I had given it up completely. I didn't care about how long it took anymore. I just wanted what I wanted, and I wanted it to be good. And I kid you not, that same day, that person came into my life. Actually, they had already came into my life. But because I was still attached to something that was not what I wanted, attachment is the killer of manifestation. Because I was attached to something that I didn't want, I could not recognize that what I wanted was already there. And when it came back, that's when I was finally able to bring in that manifestation, because it came at the right time and I let it go. This is how you bring in manifestation, by letting go of the concept of time. You have it in you as someone with ADHD. You already don't pay attention to time. You're already on ADHD time half the time. Keep that energy and use it towards your manifestation. You got this. Another one might seem a little surprising to you, and that is the attention to detail. A lot of people think that ADHD is a lack of attention. I actually think it's the opposite. I think we are focused on so many things that it's hard to focus on one thing. I know this from my personal experience, especially when it comes to sounds. I tend to hyper-focus on many sounds around me. If I'm in a noisy environment, it's almost like I hear everything at the same level. That is kind of crazy, and it can make you a little crazy, but you can channel that focus towards your manifestation. The way you do that is use that ability to focus on so many things to focus on exactly what you want. In my video, Defining Your Goal, or How to Plan Your Goal for Success, I explained the importance of defining exactly what you want without making it too strict. When you are defining a goal, it is so important to be specific about certain details. I can give an example of when I wasn't very specific and when I was very specific and how it made a huge difference. So a while ago, I said to myself, I want a basketball because I miss playing basketball. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna get a basketball. I overlooked so many aspects behind getting a basketball. I ended up getting a basketball, but the basketball was terrible. It had lumps in it. It was cheap. And I didn't even have a basketball court to play in. I didn't have basketball shoes to play in. So I ended up not using it, and I ultimately even ended up giving the basketball away because I was not specific about what I wanted. What I should have said instead was, I want a basketball and the ability to play at a court and have fun and et cetera, et cetera. That way, it would have given me what I wanted in a better way instead of just a lumpy, crappy basketball that I wasn't even able to use. Another thing is when with my love life, this was a good example when I was very specific about what I wanted. I had already gone through things that I didn't like. I didn't really like that the previous person didn't talk to me much. So I said, I want someone who would talk to me. The other person didn't want to hang out with me. So I said, I want someone who would hang out with me. The other person wasn't very supportive and validating. So I said, I want someone who's supportive and validating. I was very specific. And also my actual type, the type of men that I'm attracted to. I asked for that. If anyone knows me, y'all know I love me some Nigerian men. West African in general, but especially Nigerian. So I said that. I literally got all of those things. And I said many other things too as well. But the point I'm making is because I was very specific, I got what I wanted plus more. So you can do that too. You just have to make sure you are paying attention to those details of your life. I know so many people with ADHD. They can go on and on and on and on and on and on and on, talking about the littlest details about things they didn't like, the things they did like, what happened to them, how someone looked, how they act, how they did this and that, and all these things. They are so attentive to detail because they're paying attention to all of the details. You have that ability to use that into manifestation. You know what you want. You as an ADHDer know what you want. And even if you feel like you don't, like, I don't know what I want, Ayana. My mind is everywhere. It's everywhere. I bet you know what you want. You probably only feel that way because somebody somewhere in your life probably talked you out of something and they had you doubting your judgment. All of that is all trauma-based. I go over that and I'm gonna go over that more in future videos. But the point I'm making is once you quiet those voices and just throw them out of here, you will realize that you know what you want. It's always there. It's always popping up in your head. That ADHD overthinker plus the attention to details is firing off and going crazy. And you got it. I'm telling you, you are going to use that in your manifestations. And the very last thing, the most favoritist, most popular ADHD symptom is hyperfocus. I already talked about this. People with ADHD have the ability to hyperfocus on spiritual growth, to hyperfocus on manifestation. But in regards to this video, you can hyper-focus on making your manifestation happen through meditation and outside of meditation. Your hyper-focus becomes more of an extended version of hyper-focus. I have done this before. Whenever I want something major, like more money or a new house, I keep letting it pop up in my head all the time, almost like a damn obsession. I'm getting that, I'm getting that, I'm getting this, I'm getting this. I claim it to be $10,000 a month, $10,000 a month, the love of my life, a home I love. I keep on hyper focusing on that. And when I meditate on it, it's even better. I'm taking that hyper focus energy and I'm like living in that reality. I imagine it to the fullest extent and I do it with passion. and that speeds up your manifestation significantly. You can do that too. Also, another thing that you might not even have considered outside of just the act of manifestation is hyper-focusing on connecting to who you are. A lot of people I've seen, this is some secret sauce, y'all, so listen up. I have seen that a lot of people who talk about manifestations neglect this very important detail about manifestation, and that is your manifestations will come easier, better, and more amazing when you connect to who you are as a core person. Because when you connect to who you are as a soul, you are connecting to your life path. There is a higher power, even if you believe that higher power is your higher self. There is a higher power that has the most ideal, perfect plan for you. And if you're not connected to that, you're going to be functioning too much in the ego. And the ego wants the flashy things. The ego wants what that person has. The ego wants what I just saw on TV. The ego wants all these things. And sometimes these things are in alignment with what we want as a soul, but sometimes it's not. And so if you're too busy trying to manifest the not stuff, it's going to be hard. It's going to take longer. You might get irritated because you don't get it. It might even be something that's close to what you want, but it's missing something, right? Instead, when you hyper-focus on you as a soul, when you hyper-focus on learning who you are, you will be able to connect better to what it is you truly want, what you actually want. I have seen so many people with ADHD chase something that they truly don't want, but they're doing it because of something else. Money is a big factor, because it makes money, because my parents want me to do that, because everyone else is doing it, because I saw Kylie Jenner have it, or whatever the hell it may be. It's always some other reason. And they don't get it. And when they get it, they're still unhappy. If you want true joy, if you want your manifestations to come quicker, if you want this sense of belongingness, this sense of purpose when you're doing things and getting things in life, you have to connect on your true self. Hyper-focus on that. Hyper-focus on who you are. Put all your attention on who you are as a soul and not who you are as the ego body functioning with other people around you telling you blah, 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 blah. Guys, that's it. That's the 5 main spiritual truths about ADHD that most people overlook and don't even know how to use to their advantage. If you use this, you will manifest things so much faster, so much easier. You'll get that dream life you want. You get everything that you wanted. And luckily for you, I have free courses on how to do this, how to work towards accomplishing your goals, how to work towards seeing your ADHD symptoms as all positive, even the ones that are labeled as negative, and how to use it to make your life so much better, to make your life more peaceful, so you can wake up every day and be happy. People tell me all the time, Ayana, why are you always smiling? You always seem so happy. I'm like, because I'm so full of joy. Joy is always coursing through my veins because life is so joyous. And life is joyous for me now because I learned to love my ADHD. I learned to love life. I learned to love who I am, and I learned how to use it to my advantage. And I want to spread that joy to you. I want you to learn it. So please subscribe to this channel, like this video, and go into the description and sign up for the free courses. It's free. There's no reason why you should do it. I have an entire course on just this exactly alone. Just learning to hyper-focus right. Learning how to do all of these things that I mentioned in this video right. All right, guys. Peace.